hey, I just want to take care of my body a little bit differently right now, and I want to see some changes that I feel are necessary. That just feels so much better to me than being super, super strict. Welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Smith, and I lost 50 pounds riding my bike by focusing on what my body can do. Now, I teach other women how to do the same. I am obsessed with completely flipping the script on weight loss so that we can work out to feel good and feel strong. If you are ready to stop dieting, learn how to appreciate your body, and have fun riding your bike, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited, as always, to be with you here today. Thank you for joining me this week. Thank you for just being here and listening. Thank you for all of the comments and all of the emails and for reaching out and letting me know that you are really getting something out of this podcast. That means so much to me. It keeps me going. It makes me realize that there is so much that we have to talk about and so much that we have to share together. And if you have just found us, a very, very special warm welcome to you and welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast community. Today, I actually am really, really excited about this episode because I wanted to do something really timely, and I wanted to just share with you what I'm doing right now to eat well and move my body, because I know that when we kind of go through these seasonal transitions, right now, if you're listening to this in real time, we're transitioning from summer into fall. And when we go through these seasonal transitions, sometimes we find that, the activities we were doing before tend to shift and change. Possibly the food we're eating tends to shift and change. And so I just wanted to bring you a really real episode this week about the changes that I've been making, so that if you are kind of feeling like you need to make a change too, maybe you'll get a couple of ideas. And also, I would absolutely love it if you reached out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Sassy Cycling. That's SASCY Cycling. You can also email me at Stacy, STACY, at sassy.com. I would just kind of love to hear how you're handling this transition from summer into fall. So without further ado, I'm going to dive in and talk to you a little bit about what my summer was like, what my changes are that I'm making in the fall, so that you can get some ideas as well. So as someone who is in this transition phase from summer into fall, I just want to mention that I intentionally took it very easy this summer. And by that, I mean that I made it my goal to relax this summer. I did not want to be super intense about riding. I didn't want to be super intense about strength training. I didn't want to be super dialed in with my food and my nutrition choices. I just wanted to relax. I felt like I had a really intense year last year. And for those of you who don't know, I teach history and psychology, high school history and psychology. And it felt like a really intense year. And the school schedule is very packed. And between the school schedule and my son's activities and my family activities and family time, I really just felt this overwhelming need and urge to decompress and to relax. I didn't want to get on the scale. I didn't want to worry about my physical body. I just wanted to give it time to recharge. I wanted to give my brain time to recharge. And so that is exactly what I did. And it was absolutely wonderful and it was glorious. But what I realized towards the end of the summer was, first of all, I had gained a few pounds, not a ton of weight, but I'd gained a few pounds and I just started to feel sluggish. I felt like I was overeating a lot. And I wasn't really feeling physically good in my body. My clothes were fitting a little bit tighter, and I didn't particularly like that. And I decided, I want to kind of, as I move back into working full time, I know that I'm not going to have the ability to move my body in the same way. So over the summer, I focused on taking walks, taking hikes, doing yard work, doing chores, household chores around the house. I just kept, moving as much as I could in a really natural way, which I am such a huge fan of. And I'm not going to stop that come fall. But what I do know about the fall season is that I have less time, actual time in my schedule to move my body in that way. And I know that if I don't actually schedule time in to move my body, I won't feel as good. I won't get the movement in, and I'll be really kind of sluggish. And that is what I was starting to feel towards the end of the summer. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make some changes. Now, what I want to say, first of all, and what I think is super important, is that there was no drama about this whatsoever at all. I had a couple of thoughts with my clothes being a little tight, being, I really don't like this, but I didn't make it mean anything about me. I didn't beat myself up for the summer that I intentionally planned for myself. I went into the summer knowing that I'd probably gain a little bit of weight and being totally okay with that. There wasn't drama. There wasn't, oh my gosh, I don't know. Am I going to lose control? Am I going to gain all 50 pounds back? No, what's going to happen next? There was none of that. It was just, you know what? I'm relaxing. I'm taking it easy. And I just don't really want my mental energy to be focused on my physical well-being right now as much as it has been. And so, now as I'm kind of moving into the school year again, I know that I need to make some changes because I know that I am not going to feel my best and I want to feel strong in my body. And I also actually need a lot more energy in order to get through my day. So again, no drama. I planned for this. There is nothing wrong with a little weight gain, especially if you plan for it. It's not like I didn't know it was happening. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, you know what? Not what I want to be focusing on right now. I bring this up, the drama piece, because I saw a social media post on Instagram by an influencer who is followed by a lot of people, someone who's written, like New York Times bestselling books and so on and so forth. And one of the things she said was that, I'm in perimenopause and I need to be more strict if I don't want to gain weight. And I just had such a reaction to that because I thought, you don't need to be strict and you don't need to restrict. You just need to be a little bit more kind to yourself in this time, in this period of your life. Obviously, make your own choices and that sort of thing. But I felt like, there's another way. And so I'm here to kind of share that other way with you. The way where, yeah, you do make some shifts and you make some changes, but you do it from a place of not restriction or being strict, but a place of, hey, I just want to take care of my body a little bit differently right now. And I want to see some changes that I feel are necessary. That just feels so much better to me than being super, super strict. So just some thoughts that I wanted to share before I talk about kind of the three big things that I'm doing right now. The first one is related to movement and moving my body. So as I mentioned, over the summer, it was very informal. I got as much activity in my day as I possibly could, but I also did a lot of relaxing. I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of sitting. And it was a great balance for me at the time. But as I'm moving into the school year, I know that movement is my best way of de-stressing. I know that when I have had a long, hard day at work, if I don't find a way to move my body after, I'm going to be very uncomfortable and unhappy. I know that if I don't find little ways to move my body throughout the day at work as well, that I'm going to be uncomfortable and unhappy. So as I may have mentioned before, for the past year and a half or so, I've really been prioritizing strength training and not biking as much. And I'm at a season now where I feel like bringing biking back in and really balancing it with my strength training is important. I now consider strength training to be a part of my life. I don't have any drama over the fact that I don't like it anymore, or I don't have as much drama over the fact that I don't like it anymore. But I'm bringing that strength training and the biking back as a whole. And so my commitment to myself for the fall is to do at least 2 bike rides and 2 strength training sessions a week. Maybe I'll do more than that. I'm sure there'll be weeks where I can't get all 4 in, and that's fine. But this is just a guideline. It's not a restriction or a rule. It's a guideline that feels good to me that I am setting for myself, because the busier I am and the more stress I am, or the more stress I have, the more working these types of movements and activities in is going to be so much more important to my mental and physical health. Great example of this. I went back to work last week, Friday. I had been coming off of a really intense work day of running workshops. The previous day, I had been sitting in workshops, and then I had a very busy in the afternoon and evening with my son between drum practice and baseball practice. And as I came through the door, I knew that I needed to just get on my bike. It was just this given. I knew, you know what, this is going to be the best thing for me right now. Sitting down and reading a book is not going to cut it. I need some actual, physical activity. So I went downstairs. I did a 30-minute Jen Sherman sing-along ride. It made me cry. Honestly, it made me cry because of, it wasn't a sad ride or anything like that, but just like the whole kind of the singing, the physical release, the everything about it was everything that I needed in that moment. So they were really good tears. But that is the kind of movement that I need in my life right now. I need my movement to be scheduled. I need it to be a little bit more structured. Otherwise, it's not going to happen and I'm not going to feel good. I need that kind of both mental and physical boost from relieving stress through moving my body. So movement is going to be a little bit more structured for me in the fall. And if that's something that you feel like you need as well, I'd love to hear about it. So if you're kind of feeling, that the summer's coming to an end and you want to transition back into more of a routine, just shoot me an email, stacy@sassy.com. Tell me what you're doing. Like I said, would absolutely love to hear all about it. So one of the things that I'm doing is I am incorporating more movement into my life in a more structured way as I move into the fall months. The next change that I'm making has to do with my food choices. I think I've already mentioned to you that I really did not want to be overwhelmed by or focused on food during the summer. Also, I generally eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day during the school year. And during the summer, I tend to stick to the same breakfast, but I vary the lunch because I'm home and I have more time and I can have leftovers for lunch. And also my favorite lunch during the school year is soup. And I don't always feel like a hot bowl of soup in the middle of the summer. So I would have, different types of things for lunch. Sometimes I've had a salad with leftovers. Sometimes my lunch looked more like my dinner and it was almost like I was eating 2 dinners a day. And I just was really relaxed about it. I didn't let drama or anything like that make my food decisions difficult. I just wanted to kind of not think so much about it and be okay with it and know that, once the fall came around, I would be making different choices and decisions and that would be okay. So it just felt really, really good. Now, in terms of my lunch and my breakfast, I always have a savory breakfast, meaning not sweet. It's very protein heavy. So my breakfast includes a breakfast wrap with chicken sausage and usually some kind of vegetable like string beans or arugula or broccoli, something like that. That's what my breakfast tends to be. And then for lunch, I usually have a bowl of soup and I have a piece of chocolate after my lunch. So I kind of have this lunch and breakfast that feel really good in my body, that fuel my body exactly how I need them to during my work day, during my school day. And it feels great. If I'm going to be doing a strength training workout, a Peloton ride, working out on that day, I will probably work more carbs in there. And generally, I will have the carbs within an hour or so of the ride or the workout. But as a whole, on my day-to-day, that's my baseline. And then I adjust it accordingly. And that is what feels good to me. I know a lot of you are thinking, I do not want to have the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day. That sounds so boring. And you don't have to. You can have ones that you cycle through. But the idea is to test and find out what works good in your body. I know these foods work good in my body. And it's just one more decision during the day that I don't have to make because I have so much decision fatigue related to food. I bet that you can relate. If someone in the universe could please take the planning of weekly night dinners off of my plate, I would love you forever. So the last thing I want to do is have that kind of mental energy going into my lunches and breakfasts as well. So this is just what works for me, kind of getting back to that traditional breakfast, paying attention, what really feels good in my body because I need to protect my energy levels so that I can do all of the things that I really want to do. And just to be really clear, I don't feel like I'm depriving myself at all. I don't feel like I'm restricting myself. It feels really good to do the things that feel good in my body. And these are just choices that I'm making. I used to go out to lunch every single professional development day because it was the only time of year where we had an hour for lunch. And we didn't do it this year. My friend and I, we talked about it and we said, we just want to kind of have our usual lunch for the first couple days, and maybe Monday we'll go and grab some sandwiches. But I know the sandwiches are not going to feel as good in my body as some of the other things. And so you're kind of balancing what feels good in your body and what really, you want to eat, and kind of working ways so that you don't feel like you're restricting. And that's what we're doing. And it feels awesome and it feels great. That's what I'm kind of doing with my food choices as I move into the fall. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is progress and tracking progress and the ways that I track progress with my body. I think I mentioned to you that my clothes feel like they're getting a little bit tight. So one of the things I'm going to be looking for is, do my clothes start to feel a little bit better? Do my clothes start to feel a little bit looser? Part of this whole process for me over the past 5 years since I lost 50 pounds was just to be very aware that there would be seasons where progress to me didn't look like any kind of physical change in my body. So for me, this summer, progress meant learning how to actually really relax and not be so worried and concerned about what physically is happening and going on. And knowing I kind of have the luxury to do that, and I understand that I have the luxury to do that, and I feel very fortunate for that. But that was what I had planned to do for the summer. That was progress for me. That was really helpful and really important for me. And as I'm moving into the fall, I noticed and I'm noticing that I might want kind of those physical changes and I want that physical progress. And that's okay too. There's no right or wrong. You get to decide. I get to decide. We get to decide what we want to do with our bodies, how we want to feel about our bodies. And when we look at the big picture this way, when we know that there are going to be seasons of life where we are a little bit more relaxed about our food guidelines, where we're a little bit more relaxed about our movement guidelines, and we allow for that and know that it's going to be a season, it's going to come to an end, and then we're going to make different choices and we can always redecide. There is so much freedom in just knowing that it is up to you, that it is your choice. So I just wanted to make sure that I kind of snuck that in there a little bit, because that understanding and that knowledge and that feeling in your body is so, so helpful. So knowing that I want some physical changes this fall, I am going to just make some changes and I'm going to track them. I'm going to track the progress. I'm going to see how my clothes are fitting. Are they fitting better? Am I feeling better? Do I have more energy? And I have been weighing myself more often now too. So I barely stepped on the scale during the summer because I just didn't care. I didn't care what the scale was doing. It wasn't a priority for me. But now that we're moving back into the fall, it is a priority for me again. So I'm going to be stepping on the scale more regularly. Maybe not every day, but definitely several times a week. I'll be jumping on the scale just to check my progress, just to check in with myself, just to see what my body's doing, just to see what's going on. Again, no drama. Just want to see, am I trending up? Am I trending down? And then make gradual adjustments based on that. That is really it. So these are the things that I have been doing that I thought you might get something out of and I thought might resonate with you. Because I think a lot of times when we make this transition from one season to another, when we start to feel, oh, our clothes are fitting a little bit tighter, oh, that number on the scale is going up, we start to want to take really drastic action in order to get things back to where we feel like we want them to be. So I saw, other people on social media talking about doing 75 hard. I can't speak to what 75 hard really even is, other than anytime I've ever heard anybody talk about it, I was just like, oh yeah, heck no, that is not for me. I am not taking cold showers. I am not working out like 8,000 times a day. I am not restricting anything relating to my food because that doesn't sound good. You don't have to do a 75 hard to see physical change in your body and to actually see physical change in your body pretty quickly. Because here's the thing, that Peloton ride that I did after work yesterday made me feel stronger. It made me feel more in control. It made me so happy. It made me feel amazing. And I just was like, oh, this is what I need to do in order to build the momentum to see the changes that I need. I did exactly what I needed to do this summer for me. And it was amazing and it was glorious. And now I'm doing exactly what I need to do as we move into the fall for me. And I want you to do what you need to do for yourself too. I'm not getting strict. I'm not restricting myself. I'm just paying closer attention to what my body needs as I move into a new season. It really didn't feel great to overeat as much as I had been overeating in the past 2 weeks. And so I'm just not going to do that anymore. Again, no drama. I'm just going to be paying a little bit more attention to when I'm starting to feel like I've had enough and stop. And I've been practicing that, getting back into the habit of practicing that. And it feels really good. I feel better. I feel a little bit less stressed, and I feel like I can do more and that I have the energy to do the things I need to do. So if you're feeling a little sluggish and you're feeling like you want to make some changes, like you want to get back on track, know that you don't have to go all in immediately right now. I told you the 3 things that I'm kind of doing. You don't have to do all 3 things. You don't have to do them all at once. And in fact, I'm sort of gradually moving towards those things as well. And you can do something completely different. You can do what works for you. And as soon as you kind of get a little bit of momentum moving forward with one thing that's working for you, one small thing, then you can go ahead and you can add something else. The idea is not to do so much so fast that you get overwhelmed. I was really tempted to set up myself for, 3 bike rides a week and 3 strength training workouts a week. That's working out 6 times a week. That feels really like too much to me right now. But 4 times a week as a general goal for me right now feels good. Maybe for you, it's not that. Maybe it's once a week. And that's freaking great. That's amazing. The idea is to start building momentum towards where you want to be. So when you're feeling good with that one little thing that you just added on, then you can move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, you will be seeing the progress that you want to see towards your energy goals, towards your body goals, towards just feeling the way that you want to feel. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. If this episode spoke to you and you have a friend that you know could benefit from this message, that you know is about to jump into a 75 hard or is just feeling like they want to make some changes and they don't know where to start, please, please, please forward her this episode. I know she will appreciate it. I know that I will appreciate it, and the community will appreciate the fact that we're growing and we're reaching more and more women with this super important message that it doesn't have to be strict, that it doesn't have to be hard, that we can make progress and actually enjoy ourselves, enjoy our lives, and feel good at the same time. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you have an incredible week. And I don't know about you, but I cannot wait for the next episode. Talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. Be sure to head on over to sassy.com/guide, SASCY.com/guide, to get my completely free Lose Weight Biking Quick Start Guide so that you can get started with simple, doable weight loss today. That's SASCY.com/guide.